Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks. I'm sorry, didn't mean to scare you. On Sunday, September 2nd, 2012, this is episode 906. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by ShareFile. Enhance your workflow, send files of almost any size easily and securely with ShareFile from Citrix. Try ShareFile today for a 30-day free trial. Go to sharefile.com, click the radio microphone, and use the promo code TechGuy. And by Ring Central. We do everything in the cloud. That's why I love my cloud-based phone system from Ring Central. Zero startup costs, and Ring Central is $20 per month per user. Try it now with a 30-day risk-free trial. Buy one desk phone and get a second phone free up to 20 phones. Call 800-543-9980 or visit ringcentral.com and use the promo code TWIT. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your iPhone, iPad, MacBook, or Android smartphone. Find out what your gadget is worth and get cash to upgrade to the latest phone at Gazelle.com. Well, a good day to you. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk... technology. There it is. That's it. I knew it was something like that. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number if you want to ask a question, make a comment, make a suggestion, talk about anything having to do with computers or the internet or cell phones or home theater and all that jazz. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Now, outside the U.S., simple enough. You just call with Skype out, and it'll be a toll free. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. What if you hear some marching bands and sirens in the background today? Pay no attention to that. I do the show from the Tech Guy Labs in a little rural area about an hour north of San Francisco, the Sonoma Valley. You might have heard of it. If you're a wine drinker, you might know about it. But also there's a little, the little town I'm in, is called Petaluma. You might have heard of them because they played in the Little League World Series this year. And our Petaluma guys got all the way to the U.S. Championship, lost to Godletsville, Tennessee. Hats off to you. Then played Panama for the runner-up game and beat them 12-4. So I guess after Japan and Godletsville, Petaluma is the third best Little League team in the whole entire world. And number one in the hearts of Petalumans. So there'll be a parade in about an hour, marching those 12-year-olds down the center of town. People cheering. It's quite the thing. I think it's so cool. It's so great for those kids, and they just beam. They're just shining, and they've been signing autographs all over town all week. But I also think, gosh, it must be tough if you hit your peak at 12. What do you do for an encore? I guess some of those kids might well go on to the major leagues. I know it's happened before. It's certainly a really great thing. So if you hear a little, marching bands and cheering in the background, that's what's going on. The parade goes just a block away from here. We could run out the back door and watch it if we wanted to. So today, I guess, there's an interesting article in the New York Times, the Sunday Times, and I thought it'd be worth talking about. It's about the elections. Now, I know this is not, you hear enough political talk all week long. The last thing you'd like to do is hear political talk on this show, because this is a technology show, and we kind of try to stay away from that. But this actually is a technology story. It's an article by Sasha Issenberg. In the Campaign Stops blog, and it's talking about elections, but it's talking about something that's I think got a very interesting technological story. We talk a lot about how advertisers are tracking us and online ads are very highly targeted, etc., etc., etc. This article is about how sophisticated the campaigns have become in manipulating data. Used to be, they would target, Hispanic voters 25 to 49, or, independents in swing states and so forth. No. Now they know so much more. Political scientist at the University of California, San Diego, Samuel Popkin, has been a strategist for 4 different Democratic presidential candidates. And he says, really, the press misses the story. All journalists have one channel. All campaigns have 100 between internet, TV, and email. They're out there thinking, what should we put in the Goldbug newsletter or the Hadassah Weekly? The reporters are thinking about what they're putting in their paper. Journalists tend to mistake the part of the campaign that's exposed to their view, the candidates' travel, speeches, TV ads, public pronouncements, for the entirety of the enterprise. But in the back rooms of campaigns these days, there's a lot more going on. And it has to do with data. It has to do with big data. And how much marketers in general and campaign managers specifically know about you and me. And they're taking not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but hundreds of signals about you and me. What car we drive, what magazines we subscribe to, what we buy at the grocery store, combining them all, matching them up with our tendency to A, show up at the polls, B, what issues influence us, and they know a lot, and they are able to now very highly target their messages. We talked years ago about how President Nixon introduced ad agencies into the campaign. That seems so primitive now. He got ad men involved. Wow! And they had ads, That was in the 60s. Now it's all about demographics. The computer scientists are involved. The smartest Eisenberg finishes the article saying, the smartest people I talk to in political campaigns, the ones who spend the most time in the company of advanced data and sophisticated experimentation, are also the quickest to concede how little we ultimately know about what it takes to win. Only by knowing what is measurable can we appreciate how much isn't. And to be honest with readers, he's talking about how journalists are missing this big story about the fact that everything else may have to remain a mystery. The candidates are doing stuff, highly sophisticated stuff. And it started with the last election with George W. Bush. He was 2 elections ago, isn't it? Yeah. 3 elections ago, 2000. He was the first to really use big data to analyze the voters and to highly target. Karl Rove, his campaign strategist, was brilliant at highly targeting his messages. And then President Obama, 4 years ago, very successful in internet fundraising. We knew that, but also in highly targeting. So all that stuff we worry about, Facebook knows everything about you, so forth and so on. All that stuff that we worry about with advertising on the internet. It's so much more with political campaigns. They know a lot about us. Fascinating article. And what he says is essentially the press are playing about 8 steps behind the candidates in all this. They don't really understand what's going on, and the candidates aren't helping them because they don't really want us to know how much they're using these metrics and so forth. Interesting article. And we'll be, it's going to be an interesting campaign, isn't it? You might say, well, that's why did they say that? What's the message there? And it really has a lot to do with hyper targeting. We're getting ready for some big announcements. This is week 1 of the big announcement period for technology. Last week we saw Windows 8 tablets, Windows 8 computers, and Windows 8 phones at IFA, a big Berlin conference, particularly from Samsung. They announced the Ativ S, a 4.8-inch Windows 8 phone, new Windows phones coming out. This week, Nokia will announce new Windows phones. Motorola will announce a new Android phone, edge-to-edge, they call it, screen, going all the way, no bezel on the screen on the phone. And then Amazon on September 6th has a big announcement. They've started inviting people to a New York City location for a big announcement. I don't know what it is. I can't go because I'm out here on the West Coast, but we'll be watching with interest. And then, of course, next week, September 12th, no invitations have gone out, and they probably won't until Monday or Tuesday. But the rumor mill, the drumbeat is strong that Apple has its new iPhone announcement. And it seems, I mean, remember, Apple has said nothing. Apple doesn't even say they have a new iPhone, let alone what it looks like. But it seems like all the rumor mills are going strong on this one. 4-inch tall screen, 1136 by 640. Thinner, lighter, metal back, not plastic, not glass. We'll find out. So I think we'll find out September 12th. And an iPad mini. We'll talk about that a little later on. Your calls are next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, yeah, the Note 2. Can't wait. That's my next phone. Have a seat. Relax. Enjoy. How are you? You brought your own water? Smart. Don't let another summertime pass you by because you're chained to the office. I have not tried still get work done and enjoy what remains of summer when you go to my PC. Restoration, huh? Turns your laptop, iPad, or iPhone. Data or houses? Cool. That's neat. My brother-in-law studied, he's back east and he's in New England. He studied restoration of classic homes, Mainly fires, floods. Oh, that kind of restoration. Murder. You don't do murder? No crime scene? I see the Serve Pro trucks driving around. They go wind, wire, flood, murder, blood. Would you really? I'm not sure I'd want to be doing that. She does, really. Seems like, I don't mind the water and the, stuff like that, but blood. I saw that. What was that? Sunshine Cleaners, that movie about, yeah. So, no, I'm going to miss the parade, actually, because the parade is over here. I don't have time. I guess maybe at noon I could run out for 5 minutes and see something. Today's the big day. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same thing we do at the Butter and Eggs Day parade, which is, it's a tiny town. There's 55,000 people, but it's half of them are, San Francisco commuters. They're not really attached. So the west side, the side we're on, is about 20,000. That's the town. The kids are from the west side. So the parade will go down Kentucky Street and up the boulevard. And they may go around a few times. They do with the Butter and Eggs Day parade. Butter and Eggs Day, everybody's in it. So what happens is you march in the parade, then you sit in your seat and watch the rest of the parade go by. I don't think that'll happen with the Little League. It's a little more complicated than that. Proximient, and it's on the Android, huh? Let me go look at this. Touch and go digital receipts. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good use. So let's. So she's walking around with her
I work hard, so I shop hard.
Yeah.
And being that I'm a total shopaholic, I found it can be daunting to keep track of my spending as well as stay on top of local deals. Let me tell you about something that's made my life way easier. Proximia is a new service that does away with the clutter of receipts and sends great deals and coupons straight to my phone, all based on my geographic location and shopping habits.
Oh, I don't
Let me show you how it works. So you walk into the store of your choice, grab whatever might be in this week, or whatever might be in next week. And here's where it gets magical. After my products are purchased, I just tap on this little device with my smartphone, and a receipt pops up right on my phone with a helpful summary on top. I can scroll through it and see a point-by-point price breakdown. You just search by store name, or even product name, and there it is. And if you ever need to return anything that you've purchased, the store can directly process your return by scanning the barcode on your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And on my receipt, Proximia makes sure to share a couple of other great deals I might like.
So the problem is that not enough people have NFC phones, so I don't know how many merchants will put NFC terminals in their stores. I like it when they email me receipts because I use, there's two different programs. There's Slice and there's, I think it's called Open Receipts, something like that, that will look at your email and will figure out what do the same same thing. They'll also send you an NFC tag for free if you don't have an NFC phone. It's interesting. Well, I'm downloading it for sure. Here comes the parade of little leaguers. I don't know if that's what they'll play for the little leaguers, but anyway. Here comes the parade. They're marching down the street. The Petaluma Nationals in the lead. Their yellow and green uniforms. There goes Mickey. Oh, Annette Funicello. That's nice. Yeah. Gomer Pyle. The whole band. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte. The tech guy Cassie is on the line from Newport Beach. Our first call.
Good morning, Leo.
Hi, Cassie.
I'm Smarty Cassie on Twitter. And I
follow you on Twitter. Hi, it's nice to meet you finally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm calling this morning with a headache on my desktop computer. I'm a good girl, and I have carbonite and all those fabulous things that you suggest to us.
Yay, Smarty Cassie.
I know, and I'm finally glad that I did it, and it's just something I don't have to think about or worry about.
Yeah, and with any luck, you'll never need it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So I have a Dell desktop, and I run Chrome on it, like you suggest. And a couple weeks ago, a fan started turning on kind of midway through the day, especially if I have all my fabulous things like Facebook, Hootsuite, and Pinterest open up on Chrome all at the same time.
By the way, Cassie, you are the modern computer user, right? This is in the early days of computing. It was guys typing in basic programs to play Space Invaders, and then it was accountants and spreadsheets, right? And then along comes Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and it's a whole new game, isn't it? And you are using that computer like crazy.
It's sexy, fashionable, and flirty, and I love it.
Isn't it great? I think it's. And you know what? Finally, I mean, it used to be a lot of guys with pocket protectors and glasses with tape on, and I think fortunately, we not only have normal people, we have a few ladies involved, which is nice. I think
it is, and
I think actually now,
everyone says, "Why are you on the computer all the time?" And I said, "Because it's social, and
yes.
I'm a social girl, and so." This is where I'm going to live now.
I think that's what happened. In the early days of computing, it was people who didn't like people using machines instead of talking to humans. And now it really is. It's a communications tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And by the way, far more women now than men on the Internet using these tools.
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's where I am. And so then it bugs me when my computer isn't working right.
So is it it's a laptop?
No, this is my desktop.
It's a desktop, but the fan comes on because you're doing all that stuff.
I don't know. And then Chrome slows down, and Chrome won't open up Windows, and I have to keep double-clicking, and,
That's not good.
No.
How old is the computer, Cassie?
It is 5 years old. It's running Windows XP.
Yeah. First thing I do is, have you ever opened it?
Opened my computer?
Yeah.
Leo, I open up boxes of shoes.
Shoes, yes. Computers. So what's probably happened over the 5 years is, it has a fan that takes in dust and pet hair and smoke and then blows it through the computer. And over time, that stuff builds up. And my best guess is the first thing you've got is you've got a layer of dust, a blanket, in effect, over everything in the computer. That's keeping it warm.
Okay.
So, believe it or not, you can do this. It's a tower case, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. It should be fairly easy to open it up. Power it down first, obviously. There's two schools of thoughts on whether to leave it plugged in. I say unplug it, just to, for safety's sake. The one advantage of plugging it in, keeping it plugged in, is that it does ground it. But you live in Southern California. There's not a lot of static electricity. I wouldn't worry about that. Just, touch the metal frame. Be careful going, but you'll see a lot of dust in there, I suspect. So the first thing to do is get that out of there. Just dust the computer.
Okay. And probably from my dogs that live up here, too.
Yeah. Pet hair is the first computer book I wrote with Gina Smith. We were going to call it, she and I wanted to call it, How Do I Get the Dog Hair Out of the Disk Drive? And the stupid publisher said, change the name to, without asking us, to 101 Computer Answers You Need to Know, which is a terrible name, especially since my arch rival, Kim Commando, came out with a book exactly the same time, 1001 Computer Answers You Need to Know. And who's going to buy 101 when you can get 1001? So that was many years ago. But see, it was dog hair was a problem even then because it's being sucked into the computer and it comes in but it doesn't come out. So I would clean it out. The other thing is, I bet you haven't reinstalled your operating system in ages.
No.
What happens with computers over time? Install and uninstall, install and uninstall. It bogs down. It does get slower, and it's slower than it was the day you brought it home. So I do this yearly. It's been 5 years now. It might be time to kind of after you ride a bike for a couple of years, you bring it into the shop, they clean it up, they tune it up, they oil the chain, things like that. It's time to do that with your computer. So you can get some canned air at your local computer store or technology, Radio Shack or that kind of thing. Blow it out. Okay, get that dust out. You might want to do it outside.
Right.
Blow it out. Get all that dust out of there. I would then, now it's nice and clean inside. Careful because you don't want to knock any cables loose or unseat. So make sure before you close it back up, everything's plugged in. All the cables are solid and all that stuff. And then I would say you might want to take a look at finding all the discs. Do you have the restore discs that came with the Dell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The best thing to do is you've got Carbonite going. I'd still make a local backup so you have extra, copies.
Okay.
And back up your data. Gather the applications that you want to reinstall. Get your restore disk and start from scratch. Bring the computer back to the day you brought it home. Mm-hmm. This will make a huge difference.
So that's easier than just going and buying a new computer?
Or buy a new computer. It is time, Cassie. It kind of is time. You could get a nice... Now, are you going to get a Windows machine again?
Yes, I am a PC girl all the way.
All right. That's fine. I'm no judgment here.
No.
But there is one reason to wait. And that's because Windows 8 is coming out October 26th, and there are all these new computers designed for Windows 8 with touch, and they're cool looking, and that's the one you probably want to get.
Well, I've been hearing you talk about that, but talking about, how it's definitely made for a tablet and...
I'll tell you what, going from Windows XP to Windows 7, you're going to just love it. And Windows 7 looks like XP. It's just like XP refined, so you won't feel too at sea. Windows 8 is really, really different.
Right.
So maybe this is a good time to, you probably can get some good deals because Lenovo, Dell, Sharp, Sony, they're all saying sales have died because everybody's waiting. Right. So now might be a good time to go in and haggle.
And is that, so you think that is what is also causing Chrome to not open up Windows?
Well, Chrome uses a lot of memory, and it's a modern browser from 2012, and your computer's from 2007. It could be lack of memory. How much RAM's in that thing?
Oh, that's way too difficult.
It's probably not a lot. Cassie, if you can afford it, and computers are pretty cheap right now. You can well under $1,000 you get a nice computer.
Okay.
You can clean out the computer, you can reformat the hard drive, you can start over, or treat yourself, Cassie.
I'm all over it, Leo. Thanks.
Hey, it's great to finally meet you. Thank you so much.
Leo.
Take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. She wanted to buy a new computer. That's what she wanted. That's what happened. She said, no, really, deep down, I want a new computer. That's what I want. Why I'm not... there we go. Yeah, she tweets all the time. That's how I know who she is. She's always tweeting about the show and stuff. She's so cute. Yes, sir. No, and it's normally so what happens is it doesn't turn on until later, until like I'm going to be here. So like 10:30 or 11. What time did you get in? Maybe somebody changed the program. I don't. Oh, maybe a reset. Maybe power went out. Yeah, so, because when I'm in here on Friday morning at 8, it's always really hot because it hasn't turned on yet. Well, it hasn't turned on yet. It's so, I mean, you can't, it's not that granular. I don't think you could say Friday, turn on at 6.
No, it's like 4.
Yeah, yeah. So what I would say is it's fine for it to be a little stuffy in here. I don't want it to, well, no, you know what? I get here at 7:30. Why don't we make it start at 7:30? Then it'll be nice and cool by the time I get in any time of day.
Good.
Thank you.
I'll check them all out, see what's going on, because I've noticed it being warmer out here than it should be too.
Right.
And it always seems to be 73. It always seems to be 73. I mean,
Yeah. You know what? I bet it reset. I bet that's exactly what happened. Got reset. Hey, who edited? Josh, did you do the show yesterday? So on video, did you cut everything out? Okay, so remember, it's... You want to explain it to him?
No, I think Josh needs to explain to you that he got marching orders from Lisa that were different from yours.
Don't listen to Lisa. Listen to me. Seriously, she just misunderstood. Audio and video are different, right? So audio is just the radio show. Video, unless it's, obvious, like this, you would leave in. On video, because people are watching something, something's happening, I'm putting up...
There was a misunderstanding then.
Yeah, Lisa, don't listen to Lisa, listen to me on any kind of production or content stuff. It's my job, not hers. She may have an opinion in absence of mine, but this is my content's mine. So, and if she has any questions about that, refer her to me. I'll talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah, she misunderstood. I thought we were pretty clear, but she misunderstood.
I was asking Josh about it yesterday, and he said,
No, because I got a bunch of tweets from people saying, hey, there's no interstitial stuff in the video either. Yeah. So what we want to do is use Kyle's edit for audio, so you don't have to do anything special. Just put in the ads. And then do the normal thing that you do with video, which is look for content and leave it in. Yeah. And if I'm obviously talking and the screen's moving around and there's stuff going on, it should be, just leave it in. When in doubt, leave it in. And what I will always do is I will go to the studio cam, if I can find it, when and I'll have Leo has left the building or something. I could put Josh, edit this out. Yeah, I will. I'll do that. I'll do that. That's good. Edit here.
I think we'll be able to identify that.
There you go. So now it'll be very obvious.
You should leave just a section of it in.
Yeah, really.
So whenever you write, edit this out, leave that in.
Yeah. No, but it only gets edited out if it's supposed to be edited out, right?
Well, I'll put up when I put that up, it's supposed to be edited out. Now, I do hope you didn't. I don't want to be sexist at all. I mean, there are plenty. I realize it sounded kind of sexist when I said, "Oh yeah, now women are using the computers and the internet for Pinterest." I didn't mean that by any means. There are plenty of nuclear physicists who happen to be female using computers for high-end computation and all sorts of stuff. In fact, it's interesting. There's a company called Ada Fruit that I love, ADA Fruit, run by Lemore Freed, who is a woman. Her handle is Lady Ada, which is a tribute to Ada, the Countess of Lovelace, one of the first computer programmers back in the 19th or maybe even 18th century, who was a woman. And she does an Ask the Engineers show because they sell kits, all sorts of cool things, projects you can build, and robots and all sorts of neat stuff. And they do every Sunday a podcast called Ask the Engineers, where if you're building one of their kits, you can ask and get inputs and tips. And it's all women. And I bet you there are a lot of people go, ask the engineers. It's a bunch of guys with pocket protectors, and no, it's all women. So I certainly don't mean to imply that women only do girly stuff on the internet by any means. But I have to say that once the internet became a tool for everything, especially for communication, for creativity, that it broadened it out to everybody. I mean, don't we all use technology now all the time, whether it's a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, or, you know, for many of us, the most powerful computer in our possession is our phone. I bet you Cassie's phone is 5 times faster and smarter than her 5-year-old Dell. You know, if she has an iPhone or an Android phone, almost certainly it is. The Android phone I use, the Galaxy S3, I use the European version, is a quad-core 1.5 gigahertz processor with a gig of RAM. I'm sure that's faster than her XP machine from 5 years ago. I'm sure it is. So the power is there, and we're just using it for a variety of, I think, better and interesting things. And it means it's accessible to everybody, not just the geeks of the world. 8888 Ask Leo. I wanted to correct that. I haven't talked about the Galaxy Note 2, another Samsung announcement of last week, and the phone I'm probably the most interested in. It is a it is a phablet. That's what I call them. Phone meets tablet, 5.5 inches. Although what they've done that's interesting is it's not much bigger than the old Galaxy Note because the screen has a smaller bezel. This is the trend now, I think. Almost edge-to-edge screen. And very nice use of the stylus, which you might say, well, I don't need a stylus on a phone, but it's a pressure-sensitive stylus, which means you can do a lot of interesting things with it. That's why it's almost as much a drawing tool as a phone. I like this as a cross between a tablet and a phone. And, of course, this is going to get very crowded and competitive very soon. Not only is Amazon going to announce, I believe, on September 6th, their new Kindle Fire. The Fire was the first $200 tablet on the market, and pretty darn amazing for that price. Then along comes Google with its Nexus 7, and it's a 7-inch tablet for $200. It's like a real computer. Oh, so Amazon has to respond. I'll be very interested to see what they do with the Kindle Fire. And then it is widely believed that Apple will also do a smaller iPad. Think iPad 2, not the new iPad, iPad 2 with a 7, this is all rumor, conjecture, speculation, because Apple hasn't said, with a 7.85-inch screen. At a price point many expect to be competitive with the Nexus 7 and the Kindle Fire. That means $200 to $250. Smarter people than I, people like John Gruber, who really pay attention to this, Marco Arment of Instapaper fame, have looked into the price cost of these parts, and they believe Apple could do what is essentially an iPad 2 in a 7.85-inch case for $250. That would be very interesting. Computing is getting smaller, more portable, and that device right there, probably 5 times faster than Cassie's old Windows XP machine. Really interesting. Chat room's skeptical. Theater Monkey says, "Oh, never be $200. Apple's too greedy to price it that low," says one of our chatters. I don't know. It's a new world, and Apple wants to own it, right? They want to own the post-PC era, the tablets and the phones. I think Apple is going to surprise us. I think $250, maybe even $200. If Apple sold an iPad 2, 7.85 inches, for $200, would anybody buy anything else? I think they'd own the market. Until somebody comes along with something better for less. Gene in Manhattan Beach, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Gene.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Leo.
Thank you for calling.
The bottom line question is, how can I restore my iMac Safari bookmarks?
Uh-oh.
Shall I give you details?
Well, tell me how you lost them.
Yeah. Okay. I have an iMac 2004 with Leopard, a MacBook 2007, which I use on travel. I was on travel last week. Oh, and I backed up both before I left.
Good.
And, yes, okay, backed up both. And shut down the iMac.
Okay.
While I was away, I used Safari, and then I also used Firefox. I am not used to using Firefox. They asked me, do I want to move my existing bookmarks from Safari to Firefox? I go, well, okay. Yeah.
Well,
So-
you shouldn't delete the Safari bookmarks. You should just make a copy in Firefox.
On my MacBook. However, I arrived home, turned on the iMac, and the Safari bookmarks history was gone. It was like it was reset.
Yeah, that's not from Firefox. I don't know what that is, but that's Firefox. Move does sound like they're going to take them away from Safari and put them in Firefox, but it doesn't.
It did not. It stayed on my MacBook, which I was using, Safari.
You're sure you're in the same account that you used before? You don't have multiple accounts on your computer or anything like that?
No, I do not have multiple accounts.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you where Safari stores the bookmarks. And if you have one machine, first of all, anybody who's using Lion or later, you're not, I know, you're using Leopard, but anybody who's using the most recent versions of the operating system can just use, well, actually, I guess you could too, iCloud, or you could use the old Mobile Me to sync your bookmarks. Were you using that?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to keep my bookmarks on the MacBook different than the iMac because I would have information on my iMac that I have at home that I wanted not to be out in.
Now, somebody in the chat room saying you said the history was gone. The history of the bookmarks?
The bookmarks and the history of bookmarks.
Everything was gone. It sounds like somebody, you can do that in the settings. You can delete all that stuff. I'm going to guess. Does your husband use your computer?
Nobody touches it but me. And it was off the entire time I was gone.
Oh, okay. Because let's say hubby decided while you were gone to use the computer and just didn't want you to know what he was up to while he was doing it. That would be maybe what somebody would erase the internet history. I'll tell you how to get it back right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think hubby maybe turned on the computer, just was browsing the internet a little bit, looking for that's good.
When we built the new Tech Guy Labs, we wanted to do as much as we
say
could
anything
in the cloud.
improper was occurring. He was looking for gifts for Gene. And what do you have money for?
Big salad?
Yeah, big salad. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I hope that's petty cash, not your money.
Yeah, no, this is
all right.
clearing out the singles down petty cash.
Thank you, sir.
Big salad.
Yeah, the usual. Thank you. Web 8022, here's a deal on that. He's exactly right. In audio, we're going to give you an audio podcast that is just the radio show. Plus the ads that I do. I do a few ads in between. On video, we're going to give you a little more, like this. All right? What's going on right now? Because the problem was that if you're listening to audio, this is incomprehensible. I'm showing the chat room right now and responding to it, but you don't see that in the audio, and so it sounds like I've lost my mind. So I would say that's a good compromise. So exactly what you said, which is if you're listening, as you did, it was what you wanted. If you decide you want what's in the interstitial stuff, which kind of needs video as context, we'll put that in the video. The party I survived. So my son had his 18th birthday party, and it was my job to police it last night. And oh boy. So I made sure there was a lot of food, ordered 6 pizzas, and cleaned the hot tub. He said there'll just be 30 people. And I know everybody, and he even hired a bouncer. A friend of his was in charge. And it was good. There was one girl there until about 10 p.m. at night. It was just about 25 guys, just his closest friends. The kids he grew up with. It was kind of fun because I've known these kids since they were 6, and now they're like 18-year-old bros. And so I didn't. A lot of times I was saying, and you are? Who are you? Oh, Kevin. Nice. Wow, you've filled out. So don't hit me. So that was fine. That was fine, and they were relaxed. You know, it was a giant bong appeared at one point, but what the hell? They're 18. It's Petaluma. It's totally illegal. I understand, but I think about what I was doing when I was 18, and they were and you know they were kind of mellow, right? it was about this big. It was huge. But I make sure I keep walking around. Then at 10 o'clock, like 100 girls arrive, like 100, and then all these guys follow them, and suddenly there's about 150 people in the house. Holy cow! And apparently, I didn't know this, but it's very easy to get booze because every single one of them had a case of beer. Every one of them with a case of beer. I can't say every one of them. It wasn't like one beer or two beers. Every one of them had a case, not a six-pack. Well, I kept it. I said, look, you're not leaving the house drunk. So if you're going to drink, make sure you're prepared to spend the night. We have sleeping bags. And, nobody got wasted. I mean, there was nobody. So it was pretty convivial. I made sure I walked around. And then from midnight to 2 a.m., I stood in front of the house with my arms folded, making sure that nobody else came in and that everybody leaving was sober if they were going to drive. We had a bunch of cabs came, and it was fine. By 3 in the morning, it was kind of quiet.
Your hubby's calling you.
Now, I don't want to imply, Gene, in any way that your husband was doing anything untoward. He was shopping for you. He was looking for jewelry, gifts, lovely things to buy, and he didn't want you to come home and find out. So that's one possibility, that somebody used the computer and erased all the history. If the history and the bookmarks are gone, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Right, that would be impossible. There was nobody here.
Okay, good.
Time.
Okay, so the ghosts erased it. Well, here's where your bookmarks are, and a couple of things you can do. If you're in Safari, you can export bookmarks. If you go to, you understand all of that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to, you could take the bookmarks from one machine and move them over to the other machine. You could export them and import them.
Yes, if they were both the same, and they were not. The MacBook did not have everything that the iMac.
Right. So that's why you weren't syncing, of course, either.
Right.
Because you didn't want them to be the same.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they've disappeared, they're normally stored in what's called a plist file, which is a special kind of text file. In the library folder, there's a Safari folder and a plist folder in there. It's unique for each user. So if you had separate logins, for instance, did you import? So do you have good bookmarks on Firefox? Do you have them anywhere?
I have it on Firefox, but only what was done on the MacBook.
Mm-hmm. So you have no copy of the stuff you lost, basically.
That's possible. Now, I did do a backup. Did that include?
Sure.
Well,
what kind of backup? Was it Time Machine?
Pardon me?
What kind of backup was it? Did you just copy the files?
It went on Mac Store.
Yeah, and how did you do it? Did you use a program to do it, or?
Yes, it just does regular backup.
What program was that you used?
I can't answer that off the top of my head.
So it depends on it kind of depends on the program and how it's set up, but normally it would. So what I would look on that Mac Store.
Okay.
Or what you're gonna look for is your home folder, whatever login name you use. I use Leo, so it's a little house with the name Leo on it, right? And inside that little house with the name Leo on it, there is a folder called Library. And inside that folder called Library, there's a folder called Safari. And inside that folder called Safari, there's a file called bookmarks.plist. There's also history.plist. Those two files are the bookmarks and the history.
Wonderful.
If you backed up your, it depends what you backed up. That's why I asked what program you used. But if you backed up everything, like in your home directory, then yeah, that'll be on the Mac store.
Okay.
So look in your home directory's library under their Safari, and then you know what you could do is just take that whole Safari folder and restore it, copy it back to the desktop, computer,
Okay. When I find the bookmarks and the history,
I'd take the whole Safari folder because that's the state of everything.
Yes.
And just make a copy of that and put it in on your computer, on the main drive, on the boot drive, in the library folder, Safari. It will replace that existing library folder with all your stuff. I would make a copy. I would, just to be safe, though, and make a copy of both. So here's the process, Gene. Your first thing you're going to do is you're going to copy the Safari folder in the library file. Now, you're using Leopard, so that's not hidden. If you're using Lion or Mountain Lion, Apple has decided, you shouldn't be able to touch that, so they hide it. But if you press the Option key when you touch the Go menu, this is for Lion and Mountain Lion, the library will appear. And then you can go there. But if you're in Leopard, as you say you are, you should see a library folder right there in the home folder. In that library folder is a Safari folder. I would make a copy of that. I would make a copy of it from the Mac Store, and I would name it Mac Store Safari, and I'd make a copy from your existing desktop computer, your hard drive, and make a, old Safari. Then replace the now that you have copies, you can always go back to the way it was. And then take that folder on Mac Store and put it back on in your main library folder. And I think that'll fix everything. I would guess that'll, that's where the bookmarks are. It's this is probably a good lesson for everybody, but we forget, I think, a lot that bookmarks are a big part of our data. All the history of all the places we've gone, if you use your browser a lot and you bookmark a lot, that is something you should back up. And all browsers have a way of exporting or saving or backing up bookmarks. And it's probably a very good idea to do that. Now, there are ways to synchronize them or even to save them. Xmarks is a great program that works on Firefox and Internet Explorer. I think Safari too. Chrome has bookmark syncing, which I think is a nice feature. So Chrome will, if you sign into your Google account, will save your bookmarks. And I use that because what I do is whenever I install a new computer, I install Chrome and I sync up and everything is there. Firefox does bookmark syncing. It's a little more complicated when you want to have unique bookmarks on different machines. My suggestion is not to do that because then you have a backup, right? Do you want me to do a commercial here, Kyle, or can we go to the next caller?
You can take another call.
All right. I'd like to do that. Didn't I already talk to Mike in Maine? Am I looking at old calls here?
Yesterday.
Yeah, but I talked to him yesterday. You want me to talk to him again today? Mike, you got more problems, Mike?
I'm calling back because you and Scott said that I should get a Yamaha YAS 101, and before the show ended, it was set up in my room.
And did it fix the problem?
Not exactly. It does sound much better. It's working great, but the IR pass-through doesn't work.
Oh.
So
you went out and got a new soundbar just because of Scott?
Hey, if you and Scott say it's right...
Don't include me in that. I had no idea. It was Scott's idea. I said you should put the soundbar on top of the TV.
Well, the way I'm all set up, I can't move the soundbar from any position.
So he said to get this Yamaha soundbar because it has pass-through. It's supposed to be in front of the... I don't know how it works. I guess it's got a port that goes in front of your IR, and then it has its own IR port. And you said it doesn't work?
It doesn't. And I called Yamaha, and they said, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work with some things, so, that's just the way it is. So what did I do? I went to Monoprice because somebody else that I know...
That's who suggested Monoprice is me. I'll take credit for that.
And I picked up, I just ordered what's known as an IR wired repeater.
That's what I was suggesting. Does that work?
Well, it's on its way, but it says it only works with single-band frequencies and may not be compatible with dual-band devices.
I didn't even know there were different kinds of IRs.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
I called Sony because it's a Sony TV. Sony says, "Oh yeah, it's single-band," which I don't know if I believe or not, but I figured for $25, including the shipping, it's worth it.
That's why I love Monoprice. That's they have the lowest prices, and their stuff is good. I bought a Monoprice screen. I mean, all my cables come from Monoprice. So let me know how that works, will you?
I will definitely, but I wanted to call you back. And also, okay, you didn't recommend the Yamaha, but the sound is just great. It's got a built-in subwoofer. You don't need the separate subwoofer. It's small. It was inexpensive. Decent price on Amazon. Same price at Best Buy, believe it or not.
Good.
So for that price, it's absolutely worthwhile.
So you were able to take your old one back and replace it with the Yamaha?
Absolutely,
Good.
and I saved $3.
Well, that's great. No, absolutely. No, I'm glad that worked for you. I'm sorry the pass-through didn't work. I had no idea one way or the other on that one. But I'm hoping the IR repeater will work.
I will let you know. It should be here in a few days, along with the Ethernet bridge, or rather wireless bridge that you told me to get. Got the one that you recommended, and hopefully that'll be here, and I'll call you back and tell you how you are and how it all works great.
Good luck, Mike.
Thank you.
And Gina, never let anybody call back and say how my answer worked out, because that's I don't want to know. I give you my suggestions, I give you my advice, but don't let me know if it works. That's the last thing. I think that's good to know. That the Yamaha pass-through, for some reason, did not work. Maybe, I don't know why, but that's good to know. I have to say, it's also good to know that that's a good-sounding soundbar. We bought, for a friend of mine, I bought a very expensive Bose soundbar, which was the devil to get working. John, you finally got that Bose soundbar working, right? It was a nightmare and way overpriced. $2,500, too much for a soundbar. Get the Yamaha. Don't get the Bose. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls coming up right after this. How did you get it working? The cable was clicking. She said there was a setting.
No, well, we played with the settings. Couldn't fix it with the settings.
Yeah.
Took it out with the HDMI, which one the analog component.
Oh, you got analog out. Okay. So it was a digital issue. Yeah, that's smart. That's the way to do it. Yeah, the soundbar. Do not get a Bose soundbar. Piece of changed my life. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about something I can recommend, and you should call me if you use it and tell me how great it is. And that's called ShareFile. It's actually something I use. So, a little inside baseball here. I record on Fridays. I record commercials for the local stations, and we have to get it to them. And I used to use another program. I wasn't going to say the name. And the problem is it was a consumer file sharing program. It wasn't designed to do what I do. So this folks at Citrix said, you got to try ShareFile. And I did, and I am a big, big fan. Let me log into my ShareFile account. Here, and I'll show you. So the first thing is, it turns it into, what? Oh, let me do it this way. So the first thing is it looks very pro, right? It's got my logo on it. It makes it very easy to share files with anybody. You have absolute control of it. It's no longer, I'm not showing it. There it is. It's no longer email. But they have an Outlook plugin that makes it look like email. But the key is you don't get the bounce backs. You can share giant files. You have total control. I'll give you an example. Here's a file. These are, by the way, you have a directory of all the people who are going to receive the files. You can add, so it's easy to just click somebody. You can set their settings. See, download alerts, upload alerts, delete, admin. You give different people different capabilities. So it's great for business because you can have multiple administrators. Let's say I want to send a file. I'll find a file here. All right, I want to send this file. I'm going to say send. Now, you could do this in your email just as an attachment because it has a share file folder on my drive. But I like this feature. Give me a link. And here's the settings. I can say email me when the item's been downloaded. I can say require recipients to enter name and email before downloading. That's if I want to track them. I could say when the download expires. This is necessary for things like HIPAA and other data protection regulations. You could say after a day, that data is no longer available. You could say how many downloads per user. You could say he can download it once, for one day and that's it, or a year, or in my case, I say that, they can have as many copies as they want forever. Then I click the button. Now, here's what I get is a link, a unique link. Now, this is really nice. They do not have to have an account or anything to use this link. I can embed it in the email, and I'll show you what they see. I'll paste the link into my browser. So this is what they see. It's got our logo. It's got, it's a big download button. It's really straightforward. This is how we've been sharing files with the radio stations, and it's worked so well. I really am a fan. So here's the deal. I want you to try ShareFile. Go to sharefile.com. And the promo code is TechGuy, one word, if you want to try it, free for 30 days. They have customized solutions for over 30 industries, everything from food service, nonprofit, tech services, biotech. You could totally customize it. Use the Heard Us on the Radio. I know it's a podcast, but use the Heard Us on the Radio and use the promo code TechGuy, one word, TechGuy, and 30 days free. I'm telling you, if you're in business, it's HIPAA compliant with all the various privacy regulations. It is easy, it is fast, and it's how I share files with everybody down the line. We share a lot of files every week with our radio stations. ShareFile.com. Use the promo code TechGuy. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, home theater. I don't know if Chris Marquardt's back from his journey around the world. I think not, but if he shows up, we'll have him in about half an hour talking about digital photography. I can talk about it too. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Paul is in Columbus, Ohio, our next caller. Hello, Paul.
Leo.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for hanging on.
Great. Glad I got through. Okay. I was wondering about a particular use for an OB110.
I'm a very happy OB user myself, so
Okay, well, this is maybe slightly different, but
okay.
I've got, we're going to take a trip to Europe in October. I've got a Verizon iPhone, so that doesn't do me much good to try to even change SIM since there aren't any in it. And what I was wondering...
Actually, that's not true, by the way. The iPhone on Verizon is a world phone, and they can put a SIM in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was one of the deals that Verizon made, or Apple made with Verizon. So you can get world capability on that iPhone, including data, but you have to go to Verizon and say, I want to use this as an international phone.
Okay. Well, let me run the OB thing by you
Sure.
for a second. If I've got OB set up on my home phone line, and I've got Google Voice, and I've got access to Wi-Fi at the hotels or various places on a trip, could I use the iPhone app for the OB to call into the phone at home and use the redial then to call in the U.S. through using the...
Well, you wouldn't be... Yeah. Okay, so there's two things with the OB. Actually, we should mention obihai.com is the OBHI website. I use an OB110. You connect it up. It's kind of VoIP in a weird way. It's not really VoIP. It's using Google Voice, or you can call OB to OB.
Right.
So I presume you're not calling OB to OB when you ask this question. You want to use your Google Voice.
If I was using the OB app on my iPhone in Europe, and I'm on Wi-Fi, okay, and I call my OB in Columbus.
You could just yes, that's exactly right, and then.
And I can redial numbers in the U.S. from that home phone.
Let me think about this. So you're using the OBHI app on your iPhone, and you're calling using that. The question is, only are you using data or minutes?
That would be data.
And it would be data. So, yes, you'd be using data, but you'd only be using data. And if you're on Wi-Fi, it would be free.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Well, there's a little cartoon thing in description, written out description on their website, and this is kind of the way it seemed like it worked, but I wanted to get some confirmation.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. It's a good question, and I don't know if I'm absolutely right on this, so I'm going to ask the chat room if there's anybody using an OB-Hi to help us out here. When you use Google Voice is not VoiP. Common misconception. When you use Google Voice from your phone, Google calls you back, so you would be using minutes to make that call. But if you use the OB software on the phone, you're calling through your OB-Hi at home. So I think, yes, I think you're absolutely right. You would be paying no more than you would pay if you made that call from your house.
Okay, now the other option I had thought of before, I found an app that uses Google Voice called TalkTone.
Right.
Talkatone.
Right.
And that one, it seemed like I could do the same thing with Wi-Fi from Europe, but I would be paying for minutes from Europe.
Yeah, I think just stick with the OB. That's why you got the OB.
Google Voice, right? Well, I haven't got it yet, but I will. If that
I've been very happy with the OB. So I don't have a landline in my place. I just have an OB connected to my high-speed internet, and then I configured the OB to use Google Voice. And it does this kind of funky way to configure it. I think it uses Google Chat to signal. Hey, it doesn't matter because it works. So when somebody calls my Google Voice number, which is the number I give everybody because I use so many different phones, I'm not going to give them a hard number. I'm going to give them a Google Voice number and then set that up to ring whatever phone I got in my pocket. But when they ring Google Voice, not only does that phone ring, but also my home line. And when I bought a cheap handset to plug into the OB-Hi. It'll use any regular phone. And when I want to make a call, place a call, it's just like placing it from a landline. I pick up my handset, dial a number. It's using Google Voice, but it's direct dial, and it works great, and it costs me nothing. So it is my understanding that if you use the OB app on your phone, you're going through your OB at home,
right?
And it should be exactly the same.
Okay, now I've got a landline, so that of course that takes care of that part of the problem.
Right.
And the other question would be, if I plug that OB instead of into one phone, but plugged it into the line, as it comes into the house before it goes distributing to all the various phones, would it then work on all those phones, or is it just going to be able to work on one phone at a time?
Well, I use a cordless. So what I do is I plug a cordless base station into the OB.
Right.
And then that OB rings all the phones. You're saying you want to whether it's a incoming land call or an incoming Google Voice call.
Whichever, because if I was instead of plugging it in just to one phone, if I was plugging the main line before it distributes to the
as long as that depends on your wiring.
Well, if everything's working now on the regular phone line.
So you have the main line coming into the OB, and then the OB is almost interrupting the main feed.
Yes.
As it's distributed. Yes, that should work.
Well, I haven't done it yet. I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Now that means maybe that your OB is outside.
No, it would actually. I've got UVerse with a
perfect.
With the modem box
perfect.
That has the telephone coming out of it.
So wherever that main phone voice line is coming, the OB that goes into the OB, and then the OB goes to it. The OB almost interrupts it. You're sticking it in line there, and then absolutely it'd work the same way your phone system works. Now
whatever phone I picked up it should work fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
It's a really cool solution. It doesn't work with 911, so it's a good idea probably to keep a landline. The OB110 has 2 ports, one for a regular landline and one for your internet, so that you can do both. And Google Voice is such a great, free service. It's a really nice way to get phone service. The only issue is occasionally Google Voice goes down, which means then I don't have a phone, but who cares? I don't really want to be... you do not need a landline for the OB. All you need is internet access.
Right, except in my purpose.
Right.
Fantastic.
Hey, that's great. That sounds like a really good solution. I appreciate the call. Enjoy your trip.
Thank you. As long as we have decent Wi-Fi at places, we'll be in good shape.
And if you have an iPhone 4S, go to Verizon before you leave and just make sure you put a SIM in there. That way you at least have that access. Obi, I found out about Obi from doing the radio show. Somebody called me and said, what do you know about the Obi? I said, nothing. What do you know about the Obi? And they explained it. And what's cool about this, at first I thought, I'm using Obi's servers. So if Obi ever goes out of business, that's that. No, it turns out you're not. That little Obi box that you buy that you put on your internet is the server, is the connection. So it's like $40 for the Obi 100. I think $60 for the Obi 110. And now you know, as long as Google Voice doesn't start charging you, and knowing Google, they probably won't. You got a great deal. More calls right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's a song for my son, who celebrated his 18th birthday, and I was up late last night chaperoning the party. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It is a good age in some ways, you know. I mean, life is fun. Life is exciting when you're 18. It's all new. It's all fresh. But I have to say, I kind of feel for the generation coming out of school now, either high school or college. Unemployment's so high, and the world is changing. You know, a lot of it because of technology. And I don't think it's just an up and down business cycle. We see those all the time. But I think really in many industries, overseas, the global market, offshoring, and technology are just changing things permanently. And there are jobs that are just not going to come back to the U.S. And a lot of what I believe in, one of the reasons I do this show is I believe that the best thing you can do now as a young person is to understand technology, because it's going to be, no matter what your business is, it's going to be part of what you do. And the person who best understands the technology, is the most comfortable with it, is the ones that are going to do the best. In fact, that at the beginning of the show we were talking, even if you're running an election campaign, you're going to need, the more you understand the technology, the better off you are. Even if you're winemaking, you're going to need to know about technology. It's all what's going on. So that's what I do here. 8888 Ask Leo. You can ask me anything about technology. Let's talk about it. I love to do that. Go to North Carolina right now, and Ken on the line. Hi, Ken.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a question. I'm getting ready to move overseas for 6 months of a year down to the Dominican Republic, and I need to be able to access servers in the United States. And one of their security features is that they want to be able to see they want to marry the IP address that I use with my login to the server. And it has to be a U.S. IP address. So there's a lot of companies out there that offer virtual IP addresses for you, but they seem to all want to hide them and then change them every 90 days. I guess it's the way that, I'm wanting to use it, I think, opposite where everybody else is. They're wanting to use it to hide themselves.
Right. So, for instance, people who wanted to watch the BBC's version of the Olympics would go to a service that would give you a British IP address. And so you'd surf to that endpoint and then off to the BBC, and the BBC would think you were in the UK, and they'd let you watch it. But you want to do the opposite. Well, not exactly the opposite. You need a U.S. IP address, but you're in the Dominican Republic.
Well, yes, but what I mean by the opposite, a lot of people are wanting to hide theirs and mask so they can do...
no, you need to show it. You need to say, hey, look, I'm in the U.S. Well, there are a couple of ways to do this. Is it possible for you to set up a system in the U.S. that you would access?
I can do that. I was hoping for that to be a last resort, because if something goes wrong with it, and then I'm not there to be able to drive over to that computer. I was hoping to be able to do everything virtually.
I would recommend, there's a company called OpenVPN, openvpn.net, and they offer commercial services that essentially let you tunnel. It's called private tunnel. Let you tunnel into their servers. I'm pretty sure it would show up as a U.S. IP address if you chose that. And this would give you a couple of benefits. First of all, nobody in the Dominican could see what you were doing. So you'd get security, because and this is why most people use private tunnels, so that they can use open hotspots, go to Starbucks or use the hotel's internet access. and be secure. It protects you against man-in-the-middle attacks, snooping, sniffing, and so forth. But it would have the benefit of then, I believe, giving you a U.S. IP address. In fact, yes, it says here. In fact, you can see right at the bottom, you can connect to U.S., Canada, England, or Switzerland. So you get to choose which OpenVPN servers you want to use. So you'd use the U.S. Server. This is a great company using open source software. It's secure. There has been recently a crack on VPN, older VPNs using PPTP. Turns out they're not using very good security. This company, OpenVPN, uses SSL. It is 100% secure. And unlike and you need a static IP? Is that what you're saying?
I need a static IP. I need to register, and that's where I'm finding a lot of trouble.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, because they wouldn't necessarily guarantee you the same IP address each time. I'm not sure.
I can find a lot of companies out there, but they change them every 30 or 90 days for people's privacy. Well, I don't need that much privacy. I have to like.
It's the opposite.
Mine is. Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask the chat room if they know of any, because a VPN solution is what you want, but you want one with an unchanging IP address.
Yes.
Yeah. You could set up something, say, for instance, an EC2 instance at Amazon, which wouldn't be very expensive, that you would then tunnel into, and it would always be the same IP address.
And you said it's EC2?
Yeah, Amazon's Elastic Computing, EC2. It's mostly used by people who, for instance, Instagram wants to store its pictures somewhere affordable, doesn't want to have to buy servers or run the servers, so they lease EC2 instances. And it effectively is like your own server, your own computer, with a static IP address. It has to be static, otherwise they wouldn't be able to serve those pictures. So the Elastic Compute Cloud, I think that would be one way to do it. Microsoft has something called Azure that would, I think, do the same thing. You could go to Rackspace, get a cloud server, same idea. These aren't very expensive because you pay for the traffic, basically.
Okay, so that would be kind of a pay-as-you-go. So because I don't need it for the majority of stuff I'm doing.
That's what you want. Yeah, just pay as you go. So you only pay for what you use.
I see.
I think that would be a good. In fact, Amazon Web Services (AWS) has a free tier as well. So if you go to thank you chat room. If you go to aws.amazon.com/free, if you're just using it a little bit, this looks like this would do it. Now you'd need to turn on a VPN server. Are you sophisticated enough that you could do that? Install.
I'm good enough where I can read it and then figure it out.
Yeah, you can install OpenVPN, run on that, and that would be basically your VPN service. Boy, yeah, it's pretty cheap if you use the free version.
Okay, so I have to do the OpenVP first and pay for that, and then on top of that, then I go to Amazon and get something there.
No. This would be instead of OpenVPN.
Okay.
You'd create a VPN server on Amazon. Now, yeah, freedns.org has static IP addresses, the chat room's telling me too. freedns.org has a static IP. This looks like the wrong one. Okay. Interesting question. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Here's one. Let's put this in the chat note, show notes. PureVPN.com, dedicated IP VPN. This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what it is. So this is a dedicated IP address. This looks exactly what you want. $6.25 a month. All right. Thank you, AIQ. No, CD-ROM, he's in the Dominican Republic. We are going to do a know-how show on setting up a VPN, as a matter of fact. So you're good there. You're good there. That's good. Just going to do that. You're going to do exactly that. Our show today brought to you by our phone system. That's the only show ever brought to you by a phone system. It's Ring Central. See my phone? I got a good phone here. Let me show you my phone. This is my Ring Central. Oh, it's nice. It's a Polycom unit, multi-lines. This is a high-end business system. If you call, we have an 800 number and a local number. You call that number, you get a great phone tree, all of that. And there's no PBX in the basement. All of that programming was done in the cloud using Ring Central. I'm just a huge fan. When we first set up the studio, I realized this was not something I ever thought I would be doing. Oh, I have a business now. I have 25 employees. I need a phone system. Fortunately, Russell, who's our IT guy, said, hey, Ring Central, I've set a lot of people up with that. You don't need a PBX. It's completely cloud-based. You have so many additional features that things like people can call our 800 number, press 3 for Chad, and they press 3, and then it rings Chad's phone on his desk. But if Chad sets it up this way, which he does, I think it rings his cell phone. And if you leave a message, the voicemail gets emailed to Chad. Faxes too. And they've got a special risk-free trial right now. So if you're looking for a phone system, if you're a business like mine where you got to get a phone system and you don't want to spend a lot of money or have the complexity of a big PBX in the basement, call 800-543-9980, or you could do it online, ringcentral.com, and the promo code is TWIT, T-W-I-T. They have the pricing as low as $20 per month per user, but right now, if you're listening to me, you can get a 2-for-1 deal. For every desk phone you buy, you get a second phone free, up to 20 phones. These are the phones they set us up with, the Polycoms. I really like them. We have one of the conference Polycoms in the conference room, all of that. Buy one, get one free, up to 20 phones right now. 800-543-9980, or visit ringcentral.com and use the promo code TWIT. If you are setting up your own office phone system, it's nice because when we add a new employee, we don't have to do anything. We just plug. Literally, you plug them in, plug it into the wall, and it's $20. Then it's $20, so it's a really good deal. All right, now let's see here. Where are we going next? Oh, boy. Jamie wants to know what the future of cloud computing is. Oh, there's the parade. Who's got a camera out there? Oh, that's great. Oh, look at that. So they're all lined up. That's Kentucky Street, one block from here. Just around the corner. Is there audio? I guess I can't pick that up.
Okay, we'll go there live right now.
Parade, let's march in the parade. Hip, hip, hooray, it's time for the parade.
Obviously, you can tell I am not a DJ.
DJ Kyle Benham found a polka song. Wait a minute, is that a woman walking a rabbit on a leash? Okay. Lady brought her rabbit to see the parade. We've got where the parade is beginning here in the little town of Petaluma where we do this show. The rabbit's hopping down the street with a leash. And we're having a little parade in town, a special thing to welcome our little heroes back, the Petaluma National Little League, who played in the Little League World Series for the U.S. Championship. They lost to Tennessee, to Goodlettsville, but then they beat Panama, so they're number 3 in the world. And these adorable 12-year-old kids who were, oh man, it was an exciting game too in the U.S. Championship. They were down 10 runs. It was 15-5 in the bottom of the 6th. They came back 10 runs to tie it up, 15 all. Ended up losing when the very talented team from Goodlettsville came back and scored, I think they like 8 runs in the 7th. I was very excited. Anyway, congratulations to our Petaluma National Little League team. They came home Monday, And I could hear the helicopters and the motorcycles and the limousines, the police escorts and the sirens. It was like Neil Armstrong coming back from the moon. It was amazing. And apparently they went to the fairgrounds, our local fairgrounds, and they signed autographs for an hour. Then they went to their junior high school because they're all 7th graders, 6th and 7th graders, and went to the junior high school, signed autographs there. It's kind of cute. Anyway, congratulations to the Petaluma Nationals. Nice job, guys. I think I hear the motorcycles. I think I hear them. If you hear some marching bands, the parade starts any minute now. Ray is in North Carolina. Oh, we were talking to Ray. No, this is a new North Carolina. Hey, Ray, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, how you doing, Leo?
I am great. How are you?
Oh, doing pretty good. I was just wondering, I've had an iPhone 4S, and I've had the 3GS before that, and I really like the phone, but one app that I haven't seen really at all on there is something like, I know they're coming out with probably something called Do Not Disturb with the update, the iOS 6 version, but there's nothing like that right now where you can actually give a message to somebody while you're driving that tells them that gives you an auto reply when you get a text message.
Wouldn't that be nice? Because you don't want to, and it's so, oh boy, look, everybody knows, and I'm very clear, do not text while you're driving. That's a sure way to disaster. And I think the message is getting out. Distracted driving is a huge problem, especially with kids, but everybody. But the problem is you got your phone there, and it goes ding, ding, and you know there's something. It's like there's something in my pocket wants to talk to me, and it's like a white knuckle experience. I got to keep my hands on the wheel. So wouldn't it be nice if the phone would just say, hey, Leo's driving right now. Ray's in the car right now. He'll get back to you later.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have something like that on Android, but I have not.
Web4014 in our chat room says, yeah, my Nokia phone did that 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was something like that, but I looked, and there was something called Don't Text Me, and that app is no longer at the Apple Store. So it's like something where it says not available to U.S. U.S. store or something like that.
I'll tell you why, and it's really unfortunate. There is if you jailbreak your phone, you can do it.
Yeah, I've seen iBlacklist or something like that.
Autoresponder. There's a lot of stuff if you jailbreak it. The reason you can't do it unless you jailbreak your phone is Apple does not give third-party apps access to the text messaging. So they can't know that a text message has arrived. Apple really seals off what's going on in the phone. That's why Android can do it. In fact, there's a broad variety of text messaging, of apps that interact with your text messaging. Will respond, will watch, will put it up on the screen. All sorts of stuff on Android because it's built into the Android operating system that a third-party app can request. You have to give it permission, but it can request access to your SMS messages. Apple does not allow that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I just recently had somebody that was pestering me, kept sending me text messages.
Oh, annoying.
Finally, I found out that the only way I could block it was to go to AT&T and sign up for smart something called.
Yeah.
But but I said I really think that there should be something even when
because you pay AT&T. What was it? $10 a month for that?
I think it's $5 a month.
So annoying. I have to pay $5 a month not to get harassed.
And then the thing is, you have to go to your computer to put a number in there. You can't do it from your phone. So you're actually have to go on a computer to put the list of numbers you want to block. And if they're not on AT&T, the person doesn't get any message that their message is being, if they're AT&T, they get a message saying,
so annoying. So annoying. So the carrier could do this, and I understand T-Mobile does offer this, and so some the carrier can see your SMS messages, but there's no app allowed on the iPhone unless you jailbreak it. And jailbreaking means you're saying I want to get apps that go beyond what Apple allows. But if you're and I don't generally recommend jailbreaking your iPhone. It's just, I just think it's a bad idea. But that means that Apple has complete control. And Apple says, no third-party app can access SMS messages. Period. End of story.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that is I mean, I was like looking at a thread on Mac Rumors about it, like somebody that had a business saying, I really wish there was some app that I can use to when I'm out on the field. I don't want to.
I agree, folks. You can wish all you want, Apple's way or the highway, and this is one of the reasons I celebrate Android phones, and I encourage people to look at other alternatives, because Apple gets to set the rules. And if you want to use an iPhone, you have to follow Apple's rules, and that's one of Apple's rules. It's a stupid rule. Their rationale is it's a security issue. We don't want rogue applications using text messaging, and that's potentially a problem, because you could, for instance, if an application could create a text message, which is a feature that this would need to be created on a responder message, then it could send a message to an overseas number that would charge you $30. Or it could send messages saying, please send me spam. So Apple's position is, no, we're not going to allow other applications to do that. It's too dangerous. But it also means a whole category of useful applications aren't possible. And folks, I understand griping about it, but this is what happens if you buy an Apple product. Now, I like Apple products. I use Macintoshes. I use iPhones. But if you use Apple products, understand that they're very dictatorial. This is how that company's run, and they protect at all costs the user experience, and they do what they believe, and you do it their way or you don't do it. That's your choice. Now, the carrier could respond. You could get the carrier to do it, because AT&T, of course, can see your text messages. And presumably AT&T would be trustworthy. It wouldn't slam you and things like that. iOS 6 is going to have an auto reply feature, says Web 5566. I don't think so. I think it has the feature that Android has, which is you can have a stock set of messages. I don't know if it's how automatic it is. But I think there's no use in complaining about how Apple does things. You're not going to convince Apple. They do it the way they want to do it. And we shall see. It's one of the reasons I was a little disappointed. I understand the jury's verdict in Apple versus Samsung. And I think you can make a strong case that early on, Samsung consciously and intentionally copied Apple, saying, well, we got to. But I think they've gone well beyond copying Apple now. And now, of course, Apple has, on Friday, filed to block the top-of-the-line Samsung phones. The one I use, the Galaxy S3, the Galaxy Note, which is the phone I used before. These are not Apple clones in any sense of the word. But Apple doesn't want them to exist because, frankly, they're eating their business. 8888, ask Leo. That's the number. Let's talk tech. Yeah, it's quick reply, right? I wasn't sure. So you can't say, and this is something Apple could do, and I think they should do. You can't say I love running my own business. In the iPhone, you can't say, if I get a text message while I'm driving or, for the next hour, please respond, not available. You can't do that in 6, or can you? I think at this point, Apple's just way behind. Who's on Twit today? I don't know. Good people. Good people. The driving mode in the Galaxy S3 means that when a text comes in, it announces who it's from. So it says, you have a text. Or if somebody's calling, it says the number or the name. So the idea is so that you don't have to look at the screen, that you kind of know what's going on. You hear that sound? That's people texting me. I think Dvorak, we did invite Dvorak. I can't remember if he's coming or not. Jolie Odell, Mark Milan, just those two? And John C. Dvorak. Good show. Don't edit this out. Leave this. Yeah, well, I can demonstrate. Yeah, I could show you how to put it into driving mode, but it won't do anything unless somebody calls me. So you just pull down your notifications. This is nice. These are all the Wi-Fi, GPS, sound, screen rotation, power savings. Notifications. You can turn off notifications. Mobile data, Bluetooth. There's driving mode, so I can turn that on. And now if a message comes in, it will say, you have a message. You have a message. You want to call me, and I'll give you my number, sure. You can just call me. You can reply to the message in with speech, but it's not, And I can't remember where there is an auto reply, I think, on here, but I can't remember where it is. Oh, it's a beautiful screen. I love this phone. And for Apple to say, "Oh, look, Samsung copied us. This is so much like an iPhone." That is, I'm sorry, that's disingenuous. At this point, this doesn't look like an iPhone. It's far superior. And I think what they're really admitting is, no, it's not the copying that bothers us. It's the fact that they're too good. That's what's really bothering us. Yeah, I don't use driving mode, but if you were driving along and you wanted to know who was texting you, that kind of thing. Yeah, they want Samsung out of the market. That's not good for you and me. It's a good article in TechCrunch. Let me see if I can find it. That kind of echoes my sentiments. Oh, maybe I didn't bookmark it. This James Franco Samsung ad is indescribable. No, not that one. In the world of tech, can women have it all? I don't know. A lot of these are link bait. Link bait! Ah, there it is. Apple's patent win is bad for us all. John Evans. I think this is pretty right on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Another hour to go on the Tech Guy Show. Lots of calls still. Jamie in Ottawa, Canada. You're next. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing?
I am great. Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
Well, it's really just a question, sort of picking your brain. But even on watching your show, there's a lot of different talks about cloud and storing your data in the cloud and this and that. And I'm wondering if you think that there's much of a future in full-blown cloud computing, where we would store our machines somewhere in the cloud or on a server somewhere, and we would actually use thin clients to connect into it and run it basically remotely. So from any computer, essentially. So you can be at school, you can be at work, you can be on your personal device, and you can connect into the same computer from anywhere over the internet. And I'm wondering if you think that there's much of a future in that. I know it exists currently, but on a personal or individual level.
Well, I mean, this is how computing used to be with mainframe computers. In the early days of computing, before the personal computer, it's exactly. You'd have a terminal. Remember, you'd go to the airport, and they had those terminals. They were dumb. They didn't have any brains. They were connecting to the big mainframe somewhere in another state. The personal computer revolution was all about getting your own processor that you got to use 100% of the time, your own memory, your own hard drive. And I don't think that's something we're going to go away from. There are, it's an interesting question because there are some very outstanding examples of the failure of cloud computing. But let me explain before we go much farther. The cloud computing is more than just that particular setup. I'll give you a good example. The cloud, all the cloud is, that puffy little cloud, it was the picture used in diagrams to represent the internet. So if you're diagramming how a web browser worked, you'd say the web browser goes up to the internet and you draw a little cloud. Because what happens inside the cloud is kind of invisible. It's a black box. And, but every time you surf the web, you're cloud computing. You're connecting your computer to the internet, which then connects it to a server. another computer which serves up web pages and often does a lot of calculations. When you go to Amazon's site, that's a fairly sophisticated application you're running that's looking at the database of Amazon products, the inventory, the prices, whether it's in stock, pulls pictures from one server, pulls prices from another, has information about you on a third, collates that all into a page. There's a lot of work going on. That's cloud computing too. There was a very spectacular failure recently of cloud computing. You ever hear of the company called OnLive?
I haven't.
The idea, this is created by a guy named Steve Perlman, who's one of the genius pioneers of the Internet. He invented web TV, worked at Apple, invented QuickTime. He's a very smart guy. And he created this company. The idea was, well, people want a game, but maybe they don't have enough processor power at home to play high-end games. So what if they used a kind of a, exactly as you described, we use the term sometimes thin client or dumb device at home that connected to powerful servers on the Internet. Those servers did all the work of rendering the elaborate gameplay and just sent compressed images back down to the dumb device. So in effect, the gaming computer is out there in the cloud, not at home. And it was a good idea. It worked. But there was a problem, and the economics didn't work. And this is what Perlman realized, and one of the reasons the company essentially went bankrupt. You have to buy enough hardware to service as many people as might be using it. So they needed to spend a lot of money on these servers, and it turned out nobody, or hardly anybody, used OnLive. He said that at the highest point, we had 1,600 concurrent users. That's all, 1,600 concurrent users. Yet we owned tens of thousands of servers. So the economics didn't make sense. So that's one thing that kind of tells you the cloud, you have to do it intelligently. A web server can handle requests from thousands and thousands of people simultaneously. It's much more economical. I think because of the personal computer revolution and the much lower cost of processors and memory and hard drives, it's economically feasible and, in fact, desirable for each of us to have our own computer, full-bore computer. Hey, that's what's in your pocket nowadays is a full-bore computer. But there's no reason why it can't use the cloud for storage, for computation, for information. It's the best of both worlds. You get a CPU that's all your own, but you also have access to other computers on the cloud. And I think that's what's made computing really take off is the effect of putting our computers on the Internet. It's a different device than the early days when we just had a computer, and it was a big glorified calculator.
The only thing I'd have to say to that, where you're saying, I don't really see much of a future in this. I just see a lot of the, there's been a big green movement, all over the world, I'm sure, but definitely in North America, where we're saying, we want to cut down on waste, whether it be, just general waste or, more specifically with the electronics that we use and then a throwaway, because really how it's been.
Well, I agree with that. I think we have disposable consumer devices, but I would underscore that the cloud is not necessarily green. People forget that those servers are jam-packed in a big storage house that has to be highly air-conditioned and cooled. It's one of the reasons Apple, Facebook, and Google build server farms in areas where electricity is cheap, like Oregon and North Carolina, because they use a lot of electricity, not just for the servers, but to keep them cool. It isn't, in fact, I think, more green to use a remote server. Now, it's not green at all to throw these things out after a year or two. So we do have to work on that. I agree 100%. But I don't think that we're going to go away from the point where we all have a lot of processing power. You want that, but you also want access to processing power out in the cloud. It's going to be a real issue down the road. I agree. We're using a lot of power. Somebody did a calculation. I thought this was interesting, that all the computing power that was used to put Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon, all of that power, the lunar module computer, the mainframe computer back at NASA, all of that computational power, you use the same amount every time you do a Google search. One Google search equals the total computational power of the moon mission. And there are millions and millions of Google searches a second. I don't know if that's more efficient or not. Jamie, you're asking the right questions. You're asking the right questions. It's very interesting. And I do think we have to be considerate of the environment and certainly this trend towards disposable computing like the iPhone and the iPad where you can't even recycle it really because it's all glued together. That's a bad, bad thing. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. It's time to talk about, I don't know, computers, cell phones, laptops, the internet, the cloud. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, you want a little hand-holding on the information superhighway, gosh knows I can do that. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. In fact, we just had a call from Canada, didn't we? Let's get to Neil in Rochester, New York, our next caller. Hi, Neil.
Hey, Leo. How you doing? Nice to talk to the Grand Proven Tech again.
Careful how you say that. I'm the Grand Poo of Tech. What can I?
Yeah, Grand.
Yeah, yeah. What can I do for you?
A quick question and a quick comment. First, the question is, I have an Nexus 7, and I always follow Twit TV. Keep wanting to call it Tech TV.
That's good. I think of it as Tech TV version 2.
Yes.
And I love that Nexus 7. What do you think? Now, this was $200 for 16 or for 8 gigs, $250 for 16 gigs. Runs the latest Android Jelly Bean. What do you think?
Oh, geez. Well, I got the 16. I ordered from Google, got it the next day. I was like, wow, what happened here? Usually takes
You were lucky because they sold out on the 16s at first.
Yeah, and roughly 2 weeks later, I picked up a 16 gig. Hey, I'm not complaining. I love it. My situation is I'm noticing that a lot of the Android apps out there are for the phone. And
now the 7 is in a weird position where it's not a 10-inch tablet, and on the 10-inch tablets you really do want the tablet apps. I find a lot of the phone apps work fine on the Nexus 7, but you're right. You'd like an app that's designed for the bigger screen size, certainly.
Right, AirDroid doesn't work for what I want to do.
Okay.
They have, I guess they're working on an update, but I'm just curious to see if I can deal without Android. Nexus 7, I'd like to be able to talk to my network like I do with my laptop, and it doesn't recognize a network at all.
You mean a Wi-Fi network?
Yes.
It doesn't. You can't log into it, or what do you want to do when you say talk to your network? What do you mean?
I would if I walk in the house and I have my Nexus 7, I'd be able to log into it and talk to my laptop.
You want to what are you going to have a conversation? What do you mean talk to your laptop? You want to run the laptop from the Nexus 7? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know what you mean. Well, I think you need to be more specific in what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, thank you. I would like to be able to use Nexus 7 to transfer files, look at my laptop, look at folders.
Got it. Yeah, so there are apps to do that. Essentially what you want to do is a VPN, or not a VPN, use VLC. So,
VLC?
Yeah, VLC. So you want remote access to your laptop. Yeah. And that's fine. As long as you can get on the Wi-Fi network, right?
Yeah, I can log into my router, and actually I can see my Mac, but I can't see my PC.
Right. When you say see it, what happens? You see it as a file system? You see it at the desktop?
I see it as a desktop.
Okay. There are a number of VNC clients for Android. There are also clients that are not necessarily VNC-based, like LogMe and Ignition. In some cases, I don't know if GoToMyPC works on that particular tablet, but there are lots of choices. There's Pocket Cloud. I would look for a VNC client. Then you need to run VNC on your Windows as well. Team Viewer is another one. Make sure you have... go ahead.
Then you just can't, like if I had another laptop and...
Well, it's such a different operating system. I'm intrigued by the fact that you can see your Mac. I'm not sure why you can see your Mac.
I'm not arguing.
Yeah. Team Viewer, Log Me In, Ignition, Tight VNC. These are all three solutions that will allow you to actually see your desktop on your Nexus 7. Splash Top desktop. There's a ton of them.
Okay. Maybe I wasn't looking in the right direction for that.
Yeah. What you're basically doing is VNC.
VNC.
Yeah, Virtual Network Client, I guess is what it stands for. And it allows you, but now you need a VNC server on your desktop. Virtual Network Computing, I guess is what it is. You need a server on your desktop and a client on your Nexus. And what'll happen is it'll see all of the VNC servers on the network, and then you can log into one, and you'll be able to see it just fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was going about the wrong direction. That's why I wanted to find out if the operating systems were that compatible.
Now, what VNC does is it gives you a desktop. So you'll see the Windows desktop or the Mac desktop. If you just want to see the file systems, that's pretty straightforward. You should be able to just turn on file sharing, and that should work fine.
It doesn't. That's when.
Well, that's always a trick because it's a security issue and et cetera, et cetera. I think everybody seems to think Splash Top is the way to go on here. There's
Splash Top. I'll write that down.
Yeah, splashtop.com.
Oh, Flash Top. Okay.
Splash, like you're diving in a pool.
Splash.
Splash. Okay. Yeah. Splish splash. I was taking a bath, sharing my desktop PC.
And one quick comment for you.
Yes, sir.
Through the years, I've always watched you through Tech TV, and I've had a home theater through the past couple of years. I'm actually watching you right now on Twit TV. Sunday afternoons, I get a full house full of colleagues here watching the Tech Guy, and there's everybody's so interested, and so am I, This Week in Tech.
Wow, I'm flattered. So you'll have like a little viewing party.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Theater.
Neil, rock on. Thank you.
I broadcast you all over the place. I'm in business myself. No plugs.
What's your business? Give it a plug. What's your business? Give it a plug. You gave me a plug.
Okay. All right. USA Computing Doctor.
Oh, that's cool. So this is your business is solving people's computing problems.
Yeah, but this is my problem.
That's good. I'm glad to help you out.
Oh, I'm glad you're taking the call.
Yeah, my pleasure. So if anybody's in the Rochester area, usacomputingdoctor.com. We need more people like you who understand technology and who can get out there and help people get stuff done. Well, I appreciate it. You're the off the air tech guy, somebody in the chat room said. Nice to meet you, Neil. I appreciate it. I should mention, you want to be in our chat room. Here we are, hour 3, and I haven't told you how. Our website, our new and improved website, is techguylabs.com. And if you want to be in the chat room, there's a link right there. And there's usually around 800 to 1,000 people in there. And it's a great place to kind of help me out, because I certainly pay attention to the chat room. And also to get help yourself. PC Guy sent me a link to AndSMB. This would be good if you just wanted to see files on a Windows machine. It's a Samba CIFS client to connect Windows sharing. So you'd have to turn on file sharing on your Windows machine and install AndSMB, ANDSMB. It's a free program on your Android tablet, and then you should be able to browse the file system on Windows and copy files from Windows. So if you don't need, there's two kinds of access. One is the desktop sharing, where you can actually see the desktop, see the windows and all that. The other is just to see the file system and get the files you want. And SMB will do the latter. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. ES File Explorer. There's another one. ES File Explorer. Check that out. Let me mention Gazelle. This is a good time with all the announcements that are coming to get yourself a new phone. And Gazelle really is the easiest way to save money doing it. What is Gazelle? Well, keep those gadgets moving. Recycle your gadgets by going to Gazelle.com. Now, before the new phones are announced, would be a good time to go. Get that quote for what is that old iPhone worth, or that the HTC or BlackBerry RIM or the LG or Motorola, Nokia or Samsung. What's your old iPad or iPod worth? They even will buy MacBooks and Macs. So when the new Macs come out, this is the place to go. Now we got a new iPhone on the way. Now here's the deal. You can get a 30-day quote now, which I would recommend before the new phone is announced, because the price is only going to go down, right? This quote's good for 30 days. Look at that. My 32 gig average condition iPhone 4S, it's worth $257. That pays for the next phone. See? This is how you do it. Go to Gazelle.com, Gazelle. Just do a bunch of stuff. Empty out that drawer of cell phones, the closet of old gear. Get cash. They pay the shipping on anything worth more than $1. And by the way, their data experts will wipe the data off of it. In fact, they also assess the condition. They often up the offer. I've seen them up the offer many times. People have tweeted me saying, Gazelle gave me more, which is awesome. And then they will send you a check. You can get it by PayPal. But my recommendation, get the Amazon gift card. You get an additional 5%. So they'll add 5% to their offer. The offer is good for 30 days if you visit Gazelle.com. Then you can decide after you see the new phone whether you want to sell the old one. So do this now. Gazelle.com. And again, my secret tip, use the Amazon gift card because you get 5% more. I love Gazelle. You're going to love it too. 300,000 people have used Gazelle now to sell their stuff. They've paid out over $50 million. Good guys, doing a great service. Gazelle.com.
Rubber duck, rubber duck, 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 rubber duck.
Okay, all right. Rubber duck, rubber duck. Kyle Benham, our musical director, puts a playlist together on the website at the end of every show, which explains what he played, not why. No one understands really why, but at least you'll know what he played during the show. TechGuyLabs.com is the website. He also puts it on his Google Plus account. If you follow Kyle, you'll get it right away. KYLEBENHAM. Rudy, Riverside, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, how you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine. My question is about internet provider service. I want to go. I don't know what to go with. There's AT&T and there's Time Warner. The AT&T is the UVerse system, and they say I think it's like a G6 or a 6G thing. And Time Warner. What do you think is the better of the two?
Well, it's really dependent on implementation. So I'll tell you about the two differences. One is essentially DSL. It's using your phone lines. Of course, that's AT&T. They own that copper. And Time Warner's is cable. They're using the cable line. So there's two companies in most parts of this country that have big fat pipes into your house. The phone company and the cable company. There may be other solutions, including wireless and so forth. But in general, that's the two things. And some people are lucky enough that the phone company, Verizon or others, has come along and maybe Google put fiber into your house. That would make a third big fat pipe. Now, the phone pipe is not as fat as the cable pipe, but has some advantages. So DSL is generally slower but more consistent. The reason being that the way DSL works is you're connected directly to the central phone office, or CO. And the CO usually has a ton of bandwidth. And so when your neighbors, for instance, are all on Netflix, it doesn't impact DSL as much. Cable has a fatter pipe into the house, so the nominal cable speeds, the speeds they'll quote to you, are usually much higher than the DSL speeds, but they're also wildly inconsistent. Because the way that works is you and your neighbors are all connected to a nearby head end that is supplied with the backhaul for the internet access. So you're sharing at a point closer to you. That means if your neighbors use a lot of bandwidth, you might see fluctuations in your bandwidth as a result. Now, that's a kind of a generalization, and it really depends on implementation. If the central office doesn't have enough bandwidth for all the people using DSL, it's going to fluctuate. There's always a choke point somewhere. If your cable company puts tons of bandwidth into the head end, it's not going to matter what your neighbors are doing. So that's why I have to say, well, it really depends on your neighborhood. But in general, cable's faster than DSL.
I gotcha.
Because you have more bandwidth. The DSL is just over those twisted pair copper. The cable's over a big fat coax.
Yeah. Well, now my other question is the 6G, what I sure something about getting with AT&T, is that enough to go to like surf the internet and video and stuff like that?
Well, that's another issue with AT&T Uverse. They're sending video over the same pipe they're sending data. So it depends what you're doing. If you're just watching a normal TV, HD TV signal, you probably won't see any impact on your internet access. But if you're using the DVR and recording one HD signal and watching another, and maybe the kids upstairs are watching a third, that'll kill your internet access.
Okay. Well, all I have is just an internet hookup. I don't have the television.
Oh, you don't have the Uverse? Good. So what you'll see is you'll have, for instance, Skype, in my opinion, unless the phone company is massaging the traffic, Skype works best on DSL because it's very consistent. It's a consistent.
Oh, really?
Well, if you have enough upstream, if you pay for, say, a megabit upstream, latency is lower, tends to be lower because it's not going through as many hops, and it tends to be really rock solid. On the other hand, if what you're looking for is massive download speeds or massive upload speeds, cable might be better for you, especially, where cable really starts to suffer, in my neighborhood anyway, is about 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. when everybody's watching Netflix. Because everybody in the neighborhood is now watching a fat high-def stream, and it can slow down the neighborhood. But again, all of that varies. Depends on how Time Warner's implemented it. Depends on how the AT&T's implemented it. It really can vary.
Okay, so my main question would be, so that would be okay for like going to YouTube and watching videos, and it's so I'd be fine with that.
Again, there's different tiers, right? So if YouTube is just download, usually there's sufficient download. If you have 2 or 3 megabits per second, that's more than enough to watch YouTube in high def.
Okay, I feel much better.
Oh, good, Rudy. Yeah, I think that what happens, unfortunately, is that the different companies obfuscate everything, and the cable companies have the bandwidth hog ads, and I guess it was the DSL companies have the bandwidth. And the other thing that can vary is cable. This is the FCC. FCC gave cable companies a monopoly. Each area, there's only one cable company. Have you noticed that? And only that cable company can use their fat pipe for internet access. The FCC, because phone companies have been around longer and have presumably amortized the cost of laying that cable, the wire to your house, the FCC told phone companies, no, you have to give other companies access to your central office. So you can have DSL Extreme or a variety of other internet service providers on your phone line. It's not just AT&T or Verizon or whoever the incumbent is. Other independent companies can use that line. The FCC mandated that. And in fact, my experience is it's always better to go to an independent internet service provider, like our sponsor, DSL Extreme, and let them deal with a phone company. They have I don't like dealing with a phone company very much. But again, that will vary. At home, I have Comcast because at my apartment because it's very, very fast. They were very close. The head end is well provisioned. I checked. And that's really what you should do is go around the neighborhood and ask your neighbors or visit a site like DSL Reports. I guess they're called Broadband Reports now, and see what people are reporting in your area. It's very specific to your area. Let's see. Who's next here? Ron in Thousand Oaks, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ron.
Hi, Leo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
I have a question. We have boxes and boxes of VHS, and I want to convert it to DVDs. And it's really expensive to do that, so I was wondering if there's a special kind of recorder or converter that you can recommend, and do I need to get Blu-ray?
Well, if they're VHS tapes, you do not need to get Blu-ray. You don't want to, because Blu-ray blanks are very expensive compared to DVD blanks. You can. Do you have a computer?
Yes.
So there's a couple of ways you can do it. I tell you what, we're running out of time here. Hang on. After the break, I'll go through the different ways you can convert those VHS tapes to DVD. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. It's $1 a disc now for Blu-ray? Well, that's dropped a lot, Nightstar. That's good. Hey, Nightstar, how are you? I haven't seen you in ages. Used to be more than that. Still, $1 a disc is like 3 or 4 times the cost for a DVD. But you're getting much more storage, so. Yeah, Fry's 25 gigs is $13. That's more what I've seen, but I guess if Nightstar probably goes online and finds some special deal. So, we got I think a very common problem or question, really. Ron in Thousand Oaks has, how many VHS tapes do you have, Ron?
Well, that are worth recording, probably 75.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you know, often I say bite the bullet and just pay somebody to do it. But I'll tell you your options, and you can figure it out. Now, since you have a computer, that's going to save you some money. You could, if you didn't have a computer, there are a number of companies make dual, Panasonic, for instance, dual drive machines. One side is a VHS player, a VCR, and the other side's a DVD recorder. And that's the easiest. You just put the VHS tape in one side, you put a blank DVD in the other, you press go, and it just records 1-to-1, and it'll take, 2 hours per DVD. And so you do it, every night you put in a few and while you're watching TV or whatever.
Okay.
Now, that's the easiest for sure. Do it soon, because I doubt these companies will be making these things much longer. How many VHS tapes are there out there anymore, right? The other way to do it, which will give you a better result, but is much, more time-consuming and difficult, is to digitize the tapes using your computer. Do you still have a VCR?
Yes.
So the VCR coming out the back of it has low-quality video out, but that's all you need because that's what's on the tapes is low-quality video. You'll have, in most cases on a VCR, what's called composite video. It's a yellow plug for video and a red and white plug for audio. And so I would check the back of the VCR and see, in fact, if that's what you have, yellow, red, and white.
Okay.
It probably is. You might, if you're lucky, have an S-video output. That would be better quality if you can use S-video.
S-video, okay.
Yeah, that's the highest quality that you're going to get out of a VCR, because a VCR is analog. Then what you need... Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. So if I have the S-video output, I would connect that to the computer, download the video to the computer, and then just put that on DVD.
Yeah, but now you're going to need to get a video capture card that has the S-video input, and you're right. You cut to the chase on that. And it's nice because then you can edit it, you can review it, you can use a DVD burning program like Adobe Premiere Elements. It's about $70. And you can make a nice DVD with chapters. You can make it nicer than if you're just copying. Now, one caveat, if it's commercial VHS tapes, this is not going to work. These are your own personal tapes, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because they put copy protection, an analog, kind of a junky analog form of copy protection called macrovision on commercial tapes that gives you kind of jaggy lines across it. The record doesn't work. Most of the time, that's a tape thing, not the VCR. I mention it, though, because if you see that, then the VCR is trying to prevent you from making these copies. You might have to get a different VCR.
So on the Panasonic with the dual with the VCR DVR recorder, once I record it, would I be able to edit it on a computer?
Yeah, but the way you would do that is now you've got it on a DVD. You would have to rip the DVD.
Oh, okay.
So, and by the way, the recording is now MPEG 2, which is not very editable. So when you rip it, you'll be converting it into something that you can edit and then converting back to MPEG 2 to put it on DVD. So you'll be degrading it if you do that. Generally, if you want to, it's easiest way to make a DVD, but don't do it if you think you're going to edit it or modify it in any way. It'd be better since you have a computer. If you do plan to do that,
right,
it'd be better to do it by hand. Now it's slow and it takes some. It's time consuming. You want to get a good video capture card. Video and audio sync are tricky, but you'll find lots of help on the internet on doing that.
All right. Hey, that's a great start. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Ron. Yeah, the concept is simple. These VHS tapes are analog content, just like a record, like a cassette, like a VHS tape. They're analog content. In order for you to put it on a DVD, you need to turn it into bits. A DVD is a digital medium. So something has to convert analog to digital. And if you use your computer to do that, well, then you can get in there and you can edit it because you've got it on the hard drive as bits. You might as well edit it before you burn it to a DVD. And that's the ideal way to do it. You'll get the best quality and so forth. Now, there are programs. Somebody just mentioned the Womble, WOMBLE, DVD Wizard, which does it all kind of in it's software that does it all in one swell foop. That's a good choice for the software, but it's expensive. I mean, we're spending a couple $100 on this, and the truth is, if you get a good video capture card, you're going to have some software with it, and there's other software out there. What do we use? It's the AVCD. I can't remember. AVDC, I think, 110. Yeah, that's what we use. It's from Grass Valley. This does a pretty good job of converting. Now, what it's going to, the ideal way would be FireWire. This is a FireWire connector, so it's nice if your desktop computer has FireWire. But this takes either that composite in, the red, white, and yellow, or S-Video in, which is better quality, converts it to bits in this box, and then puts it out via FireWire. FireWire is better than USB because it has more bandwidth, so you can get better quality. So what we've been using or used for a long time for this kind of thing is the ADVC110 from grassvalley.com. Problem is, by the time you bought all the stuff you need to do this, it might have been cheaper. It certainly would have been faster to let somebody else do it. Jose, Modesto, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hey, Jose.
I have a quick issue here with my dual monitor connected to my Windows 7 Ultimate 64-bit.
Mm-hmm.
One of my monitors, my secondary, once in a while goes white and then to black, and it stays like that for a while and everything. I'm not sure if it's the monitor itself, cable, or even the video card.
It could be any of the three, but it's most likely I would start with the cable, because what's happening is the monitor's losing its signal.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the monitor's saying, I don't see anything, and that's why it goes white and then it goes black. In fact, you might even see a pop-up, no video pop-up on there.
No, I don't. I do not see that.
So a couple of things to try. We've got to troubleshoot it, right? So the first thing is swap the monitors and see if if you swap them, if the same thing happens to the same monitor or if it happens to the other monitor, that'll tell you something. If it happens if the same thing happens to the monitor, no matter what, then it's the monitor. If it's the same thing happens to the new monitor, then it's the cable or the card.
Okay.
So start with the easy stuff, which is swap the monitors. You can do that in 5 seconds. That will help narrow it down. You're going to do some troubleshooting, and then if it's a cable, then or the card, the first thing to do is try a new cable. And if it's the cable, and if it's not the cable, then it might be the card. And then sometimes it depends on how you're doing a dual monitor setup. Sometimes the card can support 2 monitors, or sometimes you're using a video card for one monitor and motherboard video for another monitor. That could be another issue entirely. It's a nice setup. When you get 2 monitors, I'll tell you, that's the way to do it. In fact, I know people who have more than 2 monitors. Lawn Dog says, anybody who's doing this is not a dummy, so you should be able to figure this out. I agree. It's a fairly sophisticated thing to do, but it sure is nice. Jay in Providence, North Carolina. Hi, Jay. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. I have a feature phone right now, and I'm hoping to hang on to it for the time being, but I'm also hoping to change carriers, and I'm told that the one I'm mainly looking at, that if you unlock it, that they can let you move your existing phone to it. The concern I have is that if I want to keep the same number...
Well, hang on a second, and I'll help you with that, but we got to take a break. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Petaluma Nationals, Little League, number 3 in the world. Wow, that was some party we just had at downtown Petaluma. Those Petaluma Little Leaguers. That's got to be hard. 12 years old and your life is peaked. Now what? Now what? I imagine more than a few of them will go on to the big leagues now, though. I mean, that's a great experience, and I bet you go, wow, I'd like to do that again. I want to do that again. I want that parade again. That was fun. So Jay called from Providence and has a cell phone question. Just tell me, what kind of, are they smartphones or are they feature phones? What kind of phones are they?
Well, unfortunately, right now it's just one feature phone, and I'm wondering if I can move to the different carrier. That is, I know that they say that if I unlock it, that I can come on over to them.
What carrier are you on right now?
Verizon.
Okay, so there's two different cell phone technologies used in the United States. Verizon and Sprint use something called CDMA. They're moving to LTE, but right now, that phone particularly, that's not an LTE phone. That's a CDMA phone. And then T-Mobile and AT&T use a technology called GSM. All of this is going to go away when everybody moves to LTE. But right now, the twain shall not meet. You can get dual radio phones, but that feature phone surely is a CDMA-only phone. That means the only carrier you could move to is Sprint. Or a Sprint MVNO like Virgin Mobile.
Okay, and if I do that, I know that the very
in order to do that, you have to find somebody who can unlock that phone, because all phones that are subsidized, most of the time when you buy a phone, it's subsidized, $50, but you have to sign up for 2 years, subsidized by a carrier. And so in return, what the carrier does is lock it to their company. So it's a Verizon phone. You got subsidized by Verizon. You can't use it on any other carrier unless you reverse that lock. Now, that can be done usually either with software or sometimes with just a key punches on the front of the phone. But you need to know what that is.
Okay, and once I've taken care of that, which that could be the most complex step, I realize, but I'm wondering, they're probably going to need a temporary number for me when I first go.
No, you can port your number over. Yeah, they may use a temporary number, but you can always port your number. That's the law. The Federal Communications Commission, and this was a nice thing that they did a few years ago, said, no, you own the number, not the phone company. It goes with you.
Okay, so
but you're right. Initially, you'll get, here's what I would do. How much is that feature phone worth? Come on. You want to go, where do you want to go, Sprint?
I had looked, well, I guess our track phone is out, because if Sprint is the only one that can technically accommodate me, then Sprint might be the
Well, here's what I would say. Go to the carrier you want. All of them will have $0 phones. Just get if it's a feature phone, there will be no charge for that. You just have to sign up for a 2-year plan, but you'd have to do that anyway. So I don't know, are you really attached to this phone? Why do you want to unlock it?
Well, it's I guess the main thing is I'm just being cheap. I'm figuring that
that's cheap because it's $0. I don't know how you get cheaper than $0.
Well, some of these plans, I believe, don't really require a contract if you just carry the...
You want to go month to month? Yeah. Yeah, usually you have to... So if you're right, if you want to go month to month, but you could still buy a cheap feature phone. You know who I'd suggest, and they are a sponsor, so take this with whatever grain of salt you feel needed. But there's a company called Ting, Ting.com. And Ting has phones. They're based on Sprint, so you could probably bring this phone over. They have a way you can bring your phone over. You pay for what you use. It's always month to month. U.S. Cellular apparently is also month to month. But these are both on CDMA networks, so your phone should work. I'll be honest with you. I think, it's going to cost you money to unlock it. Either you're going to pay somebody on the net to give you a code, or you're going to go to, and I would recommend this, an independent cell phone dealer. They can most of them are smart enough to know how to unlock the phones. I would just get a phone. He's not cheap. He's frugal, says Ray Z in our chat room. Very, very frugal. Pete in San Antonio, Texas. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, Pete.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Hey. This time you can actually understand my voice. Last time you couldn't understand me. Last time hardly.
Oh, well, I'm glad. Yeah, much better phone this time. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was sick last time.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, thanks. Did you ever get a chance to download the Twit app for your Google TV?
I did. Oh, it was you who recommended it. Yes, thank you. It looks great.
Does yours work okay? Because mine still locks up when I try to do the live feed.
I haven't tried it with the live feed, but I will try it tonight.
Oh, cool. Yes. I did an update on it because I didn't realize that there was an update to accept, and it still does the same thing. I know last time you had mentioned that it might be my bandwidth, but I was using Slingbox, and that runs in high def, no hiccups whatsoever. Well, until the Slingbox
the
died.
company that does this, FCon, does the also does the Android version, the phone version of it. I've had really great results with it. But and I put it on the Logitech review. But I'll be honest, I didn't check the streaming. So let me check the streaming when I go home tonight.
Great.
It could be a problem with it, but these guys seem to know what they're doing, and they've done a nice job. The Twit app, for those listening, going, what is he talking about? The Twit app, not Twitter. Twit's my podcast network, so it lets you watch this show and all the shows. We do about 30 shows, either live or after the fact in a download. And I know it works with the download, but I haven't tried the live streaming. It should work. Sometimes that's our fault. Maybe our streaming isn't working really well. But enough. That's a free plug. I appreciate that, Pete. But what can I do for you?
Oh, yes. Well, so many questions. The main one that I call about right now, I don't know if this is possible or not. Some people say yes, some people say no, some people say it's a nightmare. But I have two houses. Both of them had broadband internet. I'm trying to see if there's a way to merge the two together to make it as if it was one network.
How close together are the houses?
Probably maybe about 3 blocks away.
No.
Same internet provider?
No.
No way to do it.
Well, not at great expense. You could put antennas on the roof, I guess, or you could do a network. So the chat room is saying you could do. There used to be a great program called Hamachi that would allow this. Unfortunately, it was bought and pretty much gutted by LogMeIn, Hamachi. And what Hamachi would do is it would allow you to, in effect, create a LAN, a local area network, with 2 different internet systems, right? Hamachi was very easy. I guess you could. Does the pay version still work? All right. So it used to be free, and now LogMeIn has made it pay. But I think that's kind of the best way to do it. It's basically creates a virtual LAN, a virtual local area network with 2 different houses, both on the internet. You're tunneling from one to the other, and so it looks as if you're on the same local area network, even though you're not. Boy, this was a great product. I loved this product. Hey, you could still try it free, so see if it works. See if it works. And if it does, then let me see how much it is to buy Hamachi. $19 per network. So it's not that expensive. This would be the way to do it. Hamachi, Hamachi. They're owned by LogMeIn, but if you Google Hamachi, like the sushi, you'll be able to find it. There, you can do it much more complicatedly with a VPN, but it's tough. I'll tell you how tough it is. Our networking security expert, Steve Gibson, had been trying to do it for a long time and with little success until he found Hamachi, and then he said, "This is it." BK Renton in our chat room says there's a program called Tungle. Oh, I like that. Tungle. That is a P2P VPN. Same idea. It's for gaming, but so was Hamachi. You could do other things, too. Hey, Kyle, do I have an ad, or can I just go on and take more calls?
30 seconds. You're good to go.
I have 30 whole seconds for the rest of the show? Well, I guess that's not enough time to talk to Bill in San Juan. Or Garland in Washington. Guys, let's talk next week, okay? I'll be back next weekend, and I'll have lots to talk about, including apparently new Amazon products, new Nokia products, maybe a Nokia Windows RT tablet, certainly a new Nokia Windows 8 phone, new products from Google and Motorola too. It's going to be fun. It's the season of the announcements. Make sure you tune in to Tech Guy, and all week long we've got the Tech Guy website. Great place to go for more information, techguylabs.com. Thanks to Gina and to Kyle. Thanks to you for joining me. I'll see you next week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.